So how far did we come through? I introduced first 4 chapters, right? I have to introduce. Okay. What, in your opinion, is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? To clarify Arjuna's question about his responsibility, which he was confused about. Was that situation that Arjuna found himself in, was it like a sudden, unexpected thing that was happening around him? Again, your video and audio, there is a D-link. No, right? Did I cover as to how many, what was the age of Pandavas, Krishna's age? Okay, good. How old was Arjuna? Bhagavan Krishna was 89. Arjuna was 1 year younger than Bhagavan Krishna. So he was 88. For about 80 plus years, they had lived a life which had a constant tussle. Tussle would be a very small term to use. When as young as when Arjuna was about 5 or 6 years old, the first attempt at the entire Pandavas' lives were made to kill them. The entire Hastinapura must have belonged naturally to the Pandavas, but instead, what was given to them? Can you check in my car? The folder. Can you explain it to him? Okay. That which should have belonged entirely to the Pandavas, what was given to them instead? The very first time when the Yudhishthira was being announced as the king, instead of giving them the entire kingdom, they were given, instead of Hastinapura, they were given a place called Indraprastha. Now, how was Indraprastha in comparison to Hastinapura? Hastinapura could be called as a developed kingdom, and Indraprastha is not even an underdeveloped kingdom. There was nothing called Indraprastha for living. It was marshy lands on the outskirts of Hastinapura. There was nothing there. It was marshy lands. They had to go develop that place into a livable environment with absolutely no resources for themselves. But they took it up as a healthy challenge, built that Hastinapura, built that Indraprastha, wherein it stood as a healthy competition for Hastinapura, that the economy that was a throbbing vein of Hastinapura started shifting towards Indraprastha. In a very short span, it became a developed kingdom. The moment its recognition started growing, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, Shakuni, Karna, they could not digest the fact that Indraprastha which was developed by them, again this is the wrong part or the bad part of the Pandavas, how many times did they lose it to the Kauravas? Through the same game of dice. As they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on myself. Within a short span, Yudhishthira lost the entire kingdom that he had toiled to build to the Kauravas. But the second time when they came around, it was not a fun game. It was a serious affair. They had a serious memorandum of understanding signed. And there were too many sub-clauses, dotted lines, in between the lines. To put it in a very overview of what that particular understanding was, whoever lost that game of dice would have to leave that kingdom with the other person, and the losers had to spend their 12 years in the forest. Aranyavasa. Not in any other kingdom. Aranya, in the forest. And after those 12 years, 1 year they had to spend in disguise or incognito. So 12 years there was not much of a pain. Living in forest, after you have lived in luxuries for a few years, it's something comparable to when you have lived here for more than 4, 5 or 6 years, and then you have to go back and live in India for 4, 5 months. Do you find it a little difficult? There are so many families that I know moved back to India, and within few years or even within a year, they are like Return of the Dragon. Why? Can't handle it no more. There is so much of pollution, there are so many lines, there is no rules, there is nothing happening. You know what? You want to run back. Now, something similar, that they have lived in luxury and now they have to live in the forest, but that was not the catch. The catch was that they had that 1 year of disguise, 1 year of Ajnatavasa. During that Ajnatavasa, if they were caught, if their position was revealed, they had 2 choices after that. One, in order to reclaim their land, they could go back and follow these 12 years and again 1 year of disguise, or they could forego their claim. This was a part of understanding. According to one calendar, they had completed their 1 year of incognito. But according to Shakuni's calculations, how many hours were left before their 1 year could end? 2.5 hours was left. And Shakuni pulls this fast one on them. During those 12 years, what was Arjuna mainly focused on? The rest of the Pandavas lived their Aranyavasa. But what was Arjuna's focus? Arjuna's main focus was to acquire as much Divya Shakti. In today's terminologies, I would put it as WMD. Weapons of mass destruction. Pashupatastra, Indrastra, Varunastra, Agnyastra, different kinds of Astra Shastras he kept accumulating. What was he planning for those Astras? Why was he acquiring them? Was it that one day I'll have my palace and in the living room of that palace I'll display them? Like many of Indian houses, in the living room, we have two sides of the living room hall, main wall. If you have two kids, you have two sides of the wall. One side dedicated each to one kid. Now, if one kid is into, say, dancing, so ghunguru, and then photos, different events, and then different accomplishments like the cups and plaques and things like that displayed. If the other kid is into a violin or a whatever instrument, that will be in a nice glass case, and then all these. Was Arjuna planning on the similar kind for his astras? That one day I'll have my palace and I'll have all these astra shastras on display. That I got my Pashupatastra. So Shiva on one side, Arjuna receiving it and then posing for a photo. Was he planning for anything like that? What was his main aim? What was the motive? In case of eventuality, if the Kauravas whom they had seen for 80 long years, it was not a feud, it was not a misunderstanding of 1 year or one experience. 80 long years of oppression. He knew that these Kauravas would not stand up to the promise that they had made, that if they were to be challenged, it is always good to be prepared than to be sorry. Meaning for Arjuna, that war was not a sudden appearance. He had mentally prepared for that very moment. So if you are prepared mentally for that particular moment, what happened? And who is the best cricketer in your opinion? Virat Kohli. How many years has he been in that field? What, 15, 16 years? उससे 10 years तो he came into international arena. उससे पहले practice भी तो किया होगा ना उसने. हाँ, तो he must have practiced. So मैं उसको भी include कर रहा हूँ. So about 16, 17 years. तो ले लो जी 20 साल. मेरा क्या फर्क पड़ा है? की फर्क पैंदा है? हाँ ठीक है 20 साल ले लो. So 20 years he practiced, and in the field of cricket, all other games on one side, there is one particular game which stands out. When India is playing against Areva, it's playing against its favorable neighbor, it's Pakistan. So Virat Kohli, is he the opener or something? No. What down is he? Second down? Okay. 2 down. So the first opener fell through. Now Kohli is standing there, 20 years of experience. And especially for this game, everybody is braced up. In fact, the mind games have started even before. What is that ad that goes around? What is it? Mauka, mauka, right? There is some ad that goes on, mauka hi mauka, and different kinds of mauka that they talk about. The mind games have already started. In the press meets, they entice each other. Prepped up for this very moment, he stands there. And when I used to watch, there was Shoaib Akhtar, Rawalpindi Express. He was supposed to be the fastest one. Is there any such now? क्या यार क्रिकेट नहीं देखते हो क्या? Whoever, the first fast bowler is coming, and this fellow says, stop. What happened? He says, umpire, I have to go to the men's room. What happened? I don't think I can play this. Do you think that Kohli will be allowed back into India after that? I'm asking you, what will be the outrage? Starting from the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. WhatsApp things happen after 2 years. They're all reposted onto WhatsApp after 2 years. It's delayed wisdom is WhatsApp. Or delayed awakening. Everybody is agitated. And if they're standing facing that ball, he says, I'm shivering. My bat is slipping from my hand. I don't think I can face this. Too much of pressure, too much of tension. Psychological collapse. Do you think he is going to be spared? Yes, no. You're prepared for it and you better be delivering the deliverables. Similarly here, for that which he had been waiting eagerly for 80 long years, when that moment came, Dhritarashtra's mind games worked on Arjuna. He fell through to the crooked plans of Dhritarashtra, that the message that was sent by Sanjaya hit a home run with Arjuna. He was completely devastated from within. And Bhagavan observed it. And in the first chapter, there is a technical flaw that happens. What is a technical flaw? The ones who are challenging the others in the war have to blow their conch, saying, we are here challenging you for the war. And who is it supposed to be? The Pandavas. But instead of them, the Pandavas here, the Kauravas have started blowing the conch. Now Arjuna is furious. You oppress us for 80 long years, and now when it is war and we have to challenge you, you challenge us? How dare you? Therefore he asks Bhagavan, Ratham sthapayam echyuta. Take my Ratha directly to that where you hear that conch sound coming from. I want to see. Who wants to challenge this Arjuna? Even at that point when he wanted to go evaluate, he was very clear that he wanted to fight. So Bhagavan Krishna, who had seen that impact, that Arjuna was not very confident, he takes the chariot directly in front of three people. And who are they? Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya. These are the people that you have to fight. And suddenly the meltdown happens. He says, Bhagavan, I don't think I can fight. I don't think I am cut out for it. There are schemes, there are strategies that are placed expecting Arjuna to deliver his role. To that psychologically devastated Arjuna, a construction, a re-evaluation of his conviction, and to reconstruct him back to a powerful source of confidence. That message is Bhagavad Gita. It is not about the war. It is about when war happened to be his responsibility. It's about responsibilities. When we face our responsibilities, how do we look at our responsibilities? When we look at our own life, our own responsibilities, very rarely I come across people who would say that I am so eager. Why? My responsibilities, I have to fulfill them. But instead, how is our mindset? We would love to postpone it, avoid it as long as possible. Don't we do it? And then we develop a face-saving, feel-good factor. You see? I seem to give out my best under pressure. It's not like you had an option. Time was running out and you had to give your deliverables and you buckle down and then finally get through doing whatever was required. And how do you save your face? I give my best under pressure. Irrespective of what age group, if they are young, your own children, when you ask them simple little responsibilities, like what? Empty the trash. Anybody who has kids older than middle school, can you raise your hands? Good. When you ask your kids to do such chores, what is the immediate response that you get? Oh, mom, I will certainly do it. Thank you for asking me. Here I go. Do they jump out and then immediately deliver what you are asking? What is the reaction? I have not raised children, so you have to help me here. What's that? I'll do it later. I'll finish this episode and then I'll finish this game and then you have to remind them again. And if you have two kids who are middle school and higher, Baba re Baba, what happens? Last time I did it, why don't you ask him to do it or her to do it? Why should I be the only one doing it? It starts in kindergarten. My heart goes out for all of you. हमारे जमाने में तो मिडिल स्कूल में शुरू होता था. Kindergarten. तेरी. Because when you look at responsibility, nobody wants to jump in and deliver. Instead, we would love to avoid, we would love to circumvent, we would love to delegate, we would love to hold someone else responsible, draft someone else. And Kabir Das ji's doha goes out of the window. What does Kabir Das ji say? काल करे सो आज कर, आज करे सो अब, पल में परलय होएगी, बहुरी करेगा कब. Now we have become reverse Kabir. To suit our conveniences, that doha is also morphed. Have you heard that morphed doha? आज करे सो काल कर, काल करे सो परसों. इतनी भी क्या जल्दी है यारो, जब जीना है बरसों. That which you are supposed to do today, do it leisurely tomorrow. That which was supposed to be done tomorrow, do it day after. What's a hurry? And that's one logic that can nail down many things when you're dealing with kids. And then you get yelled at by the kids. Mom, I hate you. Have you gotten such strong? Brace up. So this mother, in one of our Devi groups, this mother was having a very long face, very saddened face, and she was saying, why are you looking like that? You know, my children these days have learned these strong words and they're saying, Mommy, I hate you. And it doesn't matter where they are, they're just saying it all over the place, and I'm feeling I don't know how to deal with it. I said, next time you are called out that, they hate you, look straight into their eyes and tell them, I'm glad you hate me. If you hate me, that means I am doing somewhere something nice. Now, why do they hate? We are expecting them to do that which is right. With the field of responsibilities, we think we should have the freedom to choose what should be my responsibility. What can I choose of various experiences unfolding as my life as what can be my responsibility? And when I'm able to do that, that is called absolute freedom. This is where we have messed up with our own lives because that is not the right definition of freedom. In the kids' language, it would be like, freedom is where I can do whatever I feel like, whenever I feel like, however I feel like, however long I feel like, if I feel like to do. That we define as freedom. Do we really have freedom? With that respect, do we have freedom at all? As life unfolds, we do not have the freedom to choose what responsibilities I am responsible for. Like you have a couple of children born. After 1 or 2 years, they say, I don't think I can handle it. I think I'll pass. Do you have a choice? It's already your responsibility and you have to cater. You cannot escape from it. But instead, where do we have freedom? Pay attention. That which is unfolding as my responsibility, I do not have the freedom to choose that to become as my responsibility, but instead, how do I respond to it? There I have a choice. When we talk about freedom, it is not freedom from responsibilities, it is freedom of choice. Again, freedom of choice not to choose what kind of responsibilities, but freedom of choice as to how I plan to respond to my responsibilities. If I throw something at you, what will you do? Okay, dodge. What else? Catch. What else? कौन है यार? Dangerous person. Let's throw it back. What else are the options? Get hit, right? You can get hit by it if you're not paying attention. The best response was given by a 8th, 9th grader. He said, it depends on what you throw. What if I like the thing that you're throwing at me? I don't want to keep it. If I don't like it, I'll certainly catch it and throw it back at you. I thought that was a very smart answer. Isn't it? Understand life as if you are a batsman. All these experiences that are coming at you are like the balls that are being thrown at you. Would you consider that person a good batsman if they have gone into the crease with a preconceived shot? Throw whatever kind of ball, मैं तो घुमाऊंगा ही. हाँ जी? He is not there anymore in the field. Precisely the reason why. Can he be considered as a good batsman? And the irony in this game is the tail enders usually are these weak in batting. And these tail enders are the ones who actually are very good in fielding. They know exactly what kind of balls to bowl to trouble any batsman. And when they have to face the same kind, they are in trouble. You cannot go with a preconceived notion that any ball I am going to hit in the same way. Who is considered as a good batsman? The one who realizes what kind of ball is coming onto you, whether the seam is open or the seam is inside or the seam is outside. You have to read the ball. Whether it is a fast ball, whether it is going to be landing in line, out of the line, whether it is on offside, whether it is on leg side. Not just that you read the ball, you also have a good idea as to where the fielders are. And then pick the right gap and place the ball so that you can score. Right? Sometimes, when the initial overs are, the ball is new. And usually when the ball is new, the ball is given to a fast bowler. And if there is dew, what happens to that ball? It swings. In swingers, out swingers. So when you read the ball, it falls on line and then it takes off. It's going an out swinger. You have almost thought of a stroke that you want to play it in that way, but it's going an out swinger. At that point, what is the best stroke? The best stroke is well left. They go almost there and then see that it's going and then hold themselves back to let that ball be gone. You need a lot of restraint to do that. Sometimes you have to be like Ravi Shastri. He'll go half the pitch and then do what? It almost feels like they are 6. But what is he doing? Any kind of ball, it is stuck in the ground. And sometimes we have people like Shehwag. Any ball has to be hit. It has to. When you know that, say, I'm giving an example, that this person, when they speak, it is going to irritate you. It's going to create layers of frustration in you. What should be the stroke there? What? Well left. And it will become a problem only if I respond. I don't respond. No. What do we do? Oh, khujli hai na? Go out of the way and then there is a first slip, second slip, third slip, gully. You are caught. Am I reaching across? See, when these balls, when these experiences come in, I do not have a choice of avoiding facing those balls, those experiences. Where do I have a choice? Of how I deal with it. Okay, on a pragmatic, realistic level. Do we really have a choice to avoid experiences? Yes, no, I don't know. 3 answers. You don't have a choice. This is what I was telling in the other session as well. Now let us talk about how often do we face these kinds of situations? For which, please answer. There is a set pattern that we exist our life in. Monday through Friday, there is a pattern. Right? Saturday, Sunday, you have a certain pattern. And this pattern is constantly repetitive. How many of you have lived that same pattern for less than 5 years? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 2 people. Between 5 and 10 years, raise your hands. The same pattern has been repeating itself. Between 10 and 15 years, raise your hands. Please raise so that others also feel confident. 15 and 20 years. 20 plus. अब आप भी हाथ खड़ा कर लीजिए ना. 20 plus तो आप आ ही जाएंगे उसमें. 20 plus you have been repeating. They say that anything can become a healthy habit if repeated for how many days? 21 days. You know it. And how many years have we been repeating this pattern? Nothing less than 5 years. Shouldn't we have become expert at our life? That I know these patterns, I know they are repetitive, I know I have to face them, they are eventualities of my life, inevitables of my life. It's not something like new is coming up. It is the same things again and again. I wake up in the same house. I wake up with the same faces. I wake up with the same pattern. But instead of becoming experts at it, what do we become? We become frustrated with life. Do you know why there is frustration? We have the same syndrome as Arjuna. We think we have a choice of avoiding life and experiences. Therefore, the frustration is, when can I get rid of this? Enough of it. I am tolerated is enough. Everything has a breaking point. I'm at it now. And one of the threats, especially in the Indian families, between Shripati and Srimati, a dialogue becomes a discussion, discussion becomes argument, argument becomes war. Vapre. I didn't choose the word, okay? And then it becomes Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. And every family has a Mahabharata. Yes or no? See, at least now I have a separate house which is devoid of other houses. I don't. When I was in Vijayawada, it was an apartment. The mission ashram was in an apartment. Baapre. You could literally hear 20 families and their Mahabharat every day. What's that? देखो, they're yet to decide. I was not even like the umpire there. I was just the bystander, who would hear the audible sound bits. When have you done anything for me? Enough of these things. Shuru, savere, savere. Some days, by mistake, there will be Kausalya, Suprajarama, Purva, Sandhya, Pravartate. And as that is going on, suddenly the decibel level has to be higher than that. And getting onto each other's nerves. Frustrated with such life. Because we think we have a choice to avoid. Therefore, we are in a scheme that, I'm done with this, then I'll be okay with it. Even if we think we are smart enough to beat it now in this round, whose life are we living? We think that, sometimes it happens, right? Somebody else's mail is delivered in our mailbox. Does it happen? Quite often. So what do? So you give it back to them saying, hey, by mistake it came into our mailbox. We feel as if someone else's life, someone else's experience is being thrust upon me and I have to live through it. Therefore, we cry foul. Why does this happen to me? भाई तेरी जिंदगी है, तेरे साथ नहीं हो तो और किसके साथ होगी? सीधी सी बात. It's your life, you have started it and you will have to face it. Shouldn't be a surprise. But we act all surprised. And suddenly we become holier than the holiest. I don't know, Swamiji, why this thing is happening to me. I never even think of hurting and harming even an ant. Try. काट के रखेगा. Are we really that holy? As the kids here say, what is it? Cross your heart and what's that? Cross your heart, hope to die, and there is a whole 3-4 sentences. Really, when you honestly speak about it, are we really that holy that we have not done anything that which we don't deserve what we are going through? Because with the field of karma, it is the natural law of nature that works. In the nature's law, we are not spared whether we do things consciously or unconsciously. We will get the result, repercussion, whether we have performed it consciously or unconsciously. A simple example. There is a live wire, electricity wire. It's open and it's live wire there. And you have somebody working with some gadget in assembly and you're putting it together and inadvertently you touch it. You know it and you touch. What is your experience? Because the natural course is the electrons flow in a motion of least resistance and we seldom offer any. So it flows through. And what is it? It is quite musical. Everybody gotten an electric shock in their life? Anybody who has not? No. Anybody who has not? अरे वाह, we have a volunteer. चलो आज experience करा दे. So we will make a choice for you. Pretty please. I'll just turn it on and off. You get an experience. Supposing you deal with the same electric wire, live wire, and you had no clue that it had electricity flowing through, and you interact with it, you hold it. Do you think electricity is going to spare you? बेचारा. अरे बेटा अगली बार से संभाल के. Do you think electricity is going to spare you? Because I did not know. Does that even cut it as a logic? Does it even have a sound reasoning? I did not know. Our ignorance is no proof of protection. Similarly is the law of karma. Whether I do things consciously or unconsciously, whether I do them with intention or without intention, when the results come back, who is responsible for that result? I am definitely not responsible for that sound. Who is responsible for the results that we face? Then why do we expect that the results that I am coming through, someone else should be paying for it, or I am not responsible for it? Stop making life a blame game. Instead, buckle up. Stop questioning the wrong question. Why is this happening to me? Is a wrong question. Instead, what should be the way? This is happening to me. What should be the response? As I said, what will you do if I throw something at you? If you are prepared, you will catch, you will duck, you will jump away. If you're really prepared, you will catch it, throw it back. Thank you. But if you're not prepared, what will happen to that experience? It will hit smack right into our face. Doesn't it happen? Now connecting it back to how much percentage of our life is on a repetitive pattern? 90-95% is repeat. Same people, same work mode. All wives, mothers here sitting. Has your husband ever listened to you? Don't answer. You know where I'm going. We go with the same mode. आज तो सुना के रहूंगी. Now I'm coming to that. All husbands sitting here. How long have you been seeing each other and being with each other? For that many years. You know how the other person thinks, you know how the other person behaves, reacts. And yet, wake up in the morning expecting what? Sudden chamatkar. That the other partner comes out as Buddha. There is no such miracle happening of a Buddha coming. Understand, otherwise we will be left as Buddhu. A very little difference between Buddha and Buddhu. Having said that, are we perfect? Claiming oneself to be perfect is the highest sign of imperfection. It's a work in progress. Then how can I have the audacity to expect perfection from people around me? And then get frustrated on the top of it? People are repetitive. Responsibilities are repetitive. Yes, sir. Even that you know how the response is. You have been seeing for that many years. Should we not know how to handle that response? You are working with electric wire, you know it gives a shock. What do you do next time? Do you expect it to spare you? No, you wear the gloves and you take proper care. Without taking that proper care, we expect the reactionary change. It is not going to happen. I interacting with the world. What is it that I am expecting? Joy, happiness, peace, fulfillment. Joy, happiness, fulfillment is the result that I am expecting. World with which I am interacting, and I who is interacting with it. What can be arranged or managed to get the result that I am expecting? Where do I have control? Come on. The moment that focus shifts to somewhere else, as in Hindi they say, nazar hati, durghatna ghati. The only place where I can expect that change is myself. How difficult is that to understand? Seems like very difficult. I would have been happy if this person, this environment, this experience would change. Does it ever change? The baller cannot change. It's the batsman and the stroke playing of the batsman that has to change. And then we cry for, no, I will not agree. Slow ball karna. Yeah, if the kid is still a learner, then we play underarm bowling and I said, chal beta khel. Life is not going to spare us. Am I getting across? In spite of this such crystal clear understanding, where do we fail? Why does expectation override all clarity and create confusion? If all in all through this equation, if there are no expectation, would it not have been a happier place? Yes, no? Then where do we fail? Why do we fail? That is the discussion of 5th chapter. Now you are all on the same page for the 5th chapter. So please, BY, OBG. How many of you do not have a Bhagavad Gita with you today? Please bring your own Bhagavad Gita, otherwise every time you forget, I'll make you buy one. What will you do with so many copies? Gift it. But I need a book with each one of you every week. And please wear Indian clothes. A gentle reminder. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. And one more announcement that I had to make, that every few years once I take people with me for a spiritual yatra. This year in December 19th through 31st, I'll be taking a yatra to the coastal Karnataka temples, ending in all the way to Cochin, where we have Adi Shankara Nilayam, the place where Adi Shankaracharya was born. And there will be a spiritual retreat or a camp in Adi Shankara Nilayam from 24th through 31st. From 19th through the 24th, we'll be having the yatra. So those of you who are interested, come meet me. I'll give you further details on it. Hari Om.